one of the power frames is leaving is the leverage. And it will probably be one of the most controversial chapters because of my view on how these things work. But it's a very pragmatic, practical view that's rooted in realism in the real world and what I've actually seen.
Yeah, I need a bag, bruh. Send it through quickly. I'm making his dog like I'm in the big leagues. Yeah, I told him I'ma hit it out of stands. I deserve another 100.
Welcome to another episode of the Married Game Podcast. We're the voice you trust when it comes to lust. We are who you hire when she lacks desire. If you talk a lot, they'll call you verbose. But let's tell them about the trip to Vegas where we wore our fur coats.
Oh my goodness.
Hey,
Oh my
come
gosh.
on now. That's one of my better ones.
Is it?
I think there's going to be some brainiacs out there. They're like, how did he use the word verbose so amazingly?
Oh,
Yeah. So with that being said, let's talk about a couple of really exciting things. The book.
our book.
The book of love has finally arrived.
Woo!
The Married Game book.
How exciting.
The secret playbook to primal sex. Who doesn't like that?
Mm.
And unlimited pleasure. Why would you limit yourself on pleasure?
Mm.
Stop it. Inside your marriage.
Wow.
You could actually be monogamous and married and actually have a really cool sex life. This is the playbook.
We were talking about it, and it's like we already did all the work.
Yeah.
We just put it on paper now.
Mm.
That's it.
And some very...
So now you could have it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's literally, it's the playbook. When I say it's the playbook, it literally is how do you play the game within your marriage to create. There's a couple little things, there's a couple pieces in here that I think were so, there's just so many little great
Well, I would
ideas.
hope so. I would hope so.
But literally, because I've read it back. I
Yeah.
opened it up and I read it, the whole thing. I read it all the way to 143, and I think there's 190 something pages. So I'm going to read just a little passage here that I think are some of these nuggets that when a man understands them, it shifts how he sees everything. And this one where it says, many men in our program reach a point where they realize both partners are standing on the edge of a cliff. And one has to be willing to jump. You have to be willing to say, I'm jumping off this cliff with or without you. I would love for you to come with me, but I will not stay here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the one of the concepts in this book that we talk about is the power of choice. Leaving is the leverage. It's a power frame. And that how I know it works is because it's what worked on me.
Mm-hmm. The light switch for you.
Yeah, it was the thing that you leaving was the leverage that actually jarred me into going, whoa, wait. I just literally pushed away the best human being I know.
Mm-hmm.
And
You made me jump.
yeah.
You pushed
Yeah.
me.
Well, you said you just couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah, I couldn't. No.
And one of the power frames is leaving is the leverage. And it will probably be one of the most controversial chapters because of my view on how these things work. But it's a very pragmatic, practical view that's rooted in realism in the real world and what I've actually seen.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a lot of these types of shifts in here. I'm so excited for men to get this book. You can get it on Amazon if you want. You can go there, or you can go to marriedgamebook.com. We have an extra special little gift for you at marriedgamebook.com if you get it there. So either way, we just want the message to get out. If you're going to Amazon, buy like 10 or 20 of them so you can send them to your friends. And man, I'm so excited for us.
Me too.
To
I'm
just-
so excited.
It's like here, just read this. And it's an easy read. This is like an hour and a half read. I wanted just no bullshit, some funny stories, some of that type of stuff, but mainly here's what's happening, here's how to change this. That was really exciting, and it kicked off something in my brain that made me remember the other stuff I've written in the past.
Yep.
And I'm going through like a shift in understanding how I want our information out to the world. And writing this book did that for me. It made me realize, wait a second, this is a thing that if I hand it to somebody, even when I'm dead in 300 years, this is still going to be applicable. And that felt really interesting to me.
I think you're most proud of this book, obviously, than all the stuff that you've done in the past that I want you to share.
Yeah.
Your timeline. But this is what we've been through, why we're here, why we do what we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
This is Yeah. Okay. So I look back 2003. I wrote this thing called
I was
Footsteps
still
of
in
the.
high school then.
You're still in high school.
Yep.
Yeah. You were. Oh gosh, you're so cute. So yeah, this is Footsteps of the Apostle Paul, and basically, me and my buddy Trent took like 30 people through Turkey and Greece. And I wrote about each of the context and culture of what was happening in those ancient cities.
Hmm.
I used to really love history and ancient history
You still do.
specifically. I still love it, but I really don't spend as much time in it as I
No,
like
no.
to. But I was letting them know it's like the opening story of this is if you happen to go through the grassy knolls of Gettysburg and you don't know what actually happened on those hills and what happened with the Civil War,
Hmm.
they would just look like normal hills. It doesn't matter.
Right.
But when we go to these spots, these are some of the biggest open theaters and some of the greatest orators of our time inhabited, and we're inhabitants of these cities. So it was really interesting to be able to go through that. It was probably as boring as that little piece got for you right now, but that was an interesting thing. Yeah. But let's get back to sex, baby.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Then in 2012.
Pass that over.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
In 2012, he forced me into, just kidding. We have always been excited about relationships. And, you went through your time of 3 years of gaming people. And that's obviously how we met.
Yeah.
So there are elements of attraction.
Yes.
Hint at what you made. And what do we called it? Gods of Dating.
Gods of Dating.
Yeah, so we did that a little bit. That was super fun. And if anyone is watching this,
there they are. There's
here
Jessie
I
Joy.
am.
Jessie was one of the models.
Yep.
I was apparently
tits.
looking for that pee-wee. Oh, the tits. Yeah, hits and
But
tits.
This just like shows like you love the game, love attraction, love all that.
Yeah.
We both do.
Yeah.
But now we've learned long-term attraction.
Yeah.
Married game.
Yeah, that should have been elements of short-term attraction.
Exactly.
That's the real. But that's
Exactly.
all I knew.
And we still broke up after that. And you were still good at game and getting girls and all that.
Yeah.
And you would even tell me, side note,
What?
you'd be like, if we broke up, like I can go get someone, da-da-da. And I'm like, go ahead.
Yeah.
She'll smell your shit eventually and be
Yeah.
like, peace out.
Okay, so I got the next 2 book ideas.
Mhm.
Actually, next 3, but the next 2 that we need to put into practice is the story behind it all.
Yeah.
Like when you would come back after 6 weeks and touch my foot, and I realized, oh my gosh, wait a second. And the big reveal in there, that was a
Right.
big thing. There was stories about me and Garrett surfing, about him giving me the name Married Game, all
Mhm.
these fun things that lend to why we are actually interested in this and how it actually came about that we have a podcast and we do this
Yeah.
thing and help guys and men at such high level. I use a lot of stories of some major league, baseball players or quarterbacks or like people that are legitimately seek our help for these
Mhm.
things and really cool high class businessmen. But with that being said, there's a lot of stories behind you and I, and there's stories of your past
Yeah.
and stories of my past that cause us both to see things in each other and through each other
Yeah.
that helped lead to a lot of understanding of what's in these books and what happened.
Like the documentary of us.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a story like here's how it came about. And if I'm somebody reading a book like this, The Married Game, I'm a business dude and I've got things on point, but my wife doesn't like me, and it's a problem I can't solve, and I don't know why I can't solve it because I can solve every other problem in my life.
Mhm.
And I read this book, and it's going to have like 5 to 7 major mental shifts. I know that because that's what the guys tell me, and that's what happened for me.
Mhm.
Once they see these shifts, then they're going like, "Fuck, I need to live this way because if I live
Yeah.
this way, I'm going to get what I want." If I'm reading that book, and I've read many books, I start to go like, "Well, who is the author?
Yep.
Who are these people? Like, do they still live this? When did he write this? What's happening
how did
now?
they get here?
Yeah, and what's
Yeah,
how
you just
did how
become
did
like
it come?
obsessed.
Yeah, I want to know.
It's like watching a good movie and you go home, you start looking up the cast, and,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah,
history of Wicked or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So you start looking at all that. That's what our book's gonna be. Is just our history.
and how it applied to how we see things now. There's a through line to all of it. The second book is I want to release my 10 to 12 most embarrassing game moments where I'm the butt of the joke in marriage and outside of
Yeah.
marriage. Just where I just really fucking ate a sandal and it
Mhm.
just was like, Jesus, Keithy, that is some of the dumbest shit you've ever done.
Like forgetting Mother's Day.
Like Don't pull the punchline.
Like, no,
Yeah.
I go on and on.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely gonna need your consultation on a few
No
of these.
problem. I'm here
Yeah,
for you.
exactly. So, to show people how deep far back of the pack you can like really have in your limited awareness of how things actually work, and then with some awareness of how it works, and then watching and seeing a model do it for you, that's pretty powerful. A lot of guys, even though they go through our program, listen to our show because they want more. Okay, so what happened in Vegas? We need to know. People are wanting to know. So anyway, I wrote this other book, Private Money Secrets.
Yes.
But guess what it was about? Attracting money. How to attract investors to want to do deals with
So
you.
it's relationships still.
It's attraction. It's
Yeah.
this thing of attraction. So this has been, I think, the thing that has caught my attention really deeply for a lot of years, and wondering how it actually works. And true attraction, when you really boil it down to it, is you're being the most purest essence of who you are in its power, because the most pure you are, the more powerful you are, right? That is what makes people go, I want to be around this energy. Having faith in your ability to attract without having to manipulate is like it's such a freeing, liberating feeling that any man can give himself if he understands these things. That's pretty fucking exciting. What do you think about?
Are we going to talk about Valentine's Day?
Oh, snap.
Okay,
Why don't you open it
wait,
up for us?
I brought my fur coat to Vegas, and you're like, I'm going to bring mine too. So you copied me, and then we walked around, and we had, I think everywhere we went, we got a few compliments here, a few compliments there with our fur coat. So we decided to wear it today on the show.
A few.
It was so fun.
They're
like, you guys look so cute.
There was so many compliments.
Yeah.
On these fur coats, and it just it's one of those fun things. Okay, so we throw a lot of parties, or we have parties with themed parties with our friends. But even if it's like for the Ascend Brotherhood, or if it's for Married Game or Life, whatever we're doing, if we're gonna go out, like, let's theme it up.
Which I'm like, why can't I wear my normal clothes at this point?
Exactly.
Because we do it so much. But it is so fun.
It is fun, but it also it's what I noticed about it this time in particular was, I was like, wow, shit, you and I just did our own themed party, but it's just you and me. And the result was the exact same, maybe even more. And it was, people were just instantly intrigued. Like, wow. Yes, that's
nice fur coat.
Yeah. Okay.
So
it's almost like a touch of peacocking.
Definitely. I mean, look at us. Definitely, but it was fun to do it together.
You think fur coats is that much of a peacock?
Like, no, it's kind of like a thing right now. So no, and that's why I didn't think it would be a big deal wearing it in Vegas of all places.
Yeah.
But no, I think because you are wearing yours with me.
Yeah.
It just elevated it.
Yeah. Well, so I'm okay then. Well, let's tell the story, because did we tell them what we were going to do on the last episode? Okay. Well, let's tell them what actually happened. This is like what's that show with is it Fake or Cake? Like, or what was intended? Like, you're trying to make, this is what you're trying to make, and then they make the shit. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the plan was to fly to Vegas, go check in, hotel. Oh yeah, we enjoyed that.
Best way to fly.
That was fun. I don't think it's the best way. It's the second best way.
Yes.
Private is
really
better,
good.
but it was a lot of fun. Shout out to JSX. Our new this segment brought to you by Okay, so
that would be awesome.
Well, first and foremost, how did it make you feel that everything was literally taken care of?
I was so spoiled. I didn't have to wait like a second for this or that. We walk out of the hotel and they open the door instantly. Like, I was so spoiled the whole time. Go ahead, but I was going to say, when we got to like there, I was like, I'm a little hungry. I ordered oysters and shrimp, and I just was spoiled.
Yeah.
Nice bath overlooking the whole city. Like, it was great. I had a really good time.
Yeah.
Spoiled.
Yeah. So you felt taken care of and spoiled.
Yes.
All right. So we get to the hotel, check in, hang out.
Oysters, shrimp.
Yeah. But
get ready.
Here's the conversation that I think they want to hear.
Oh gosh.
This is the conversation I would want to hear if I'm listening in. And the conversation I want to hear is, when you asked me my expectation of sex, what was my response?
So your response was, I don't have one, which for me, I was shocked because normally you're like, okay, when we get there, we're going to, do it before we go out so we can just have a good time. And then in the morning, like you have an expectation. Not really an expectation. What's
A
that?
rhythm, maybe.
Or you put thought into something you would like.
Yeah, a preference.
A preference. There you
Yeah.
go. Not an expectation. You have to.
Yeah.
But it's overnight. That's usually kind of what's
Well,
expected.
we
right?
have also kind of a context of when we do these overnights, they're supposed to be. We want them both to be fun and connecting and all the good stuff, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you didn't have an expectation, which shocked me because I was trying to put intention on that for Valentine's Day for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I just was shocked about it. And so then I'm thinking, in my mind, I had bought lingerie for you,
Mm-hmm.
not for me, for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, when am I going to pull this out? Like, do I do it before? Do I do it after? Like, are we going to be too tired from like being out late? Like, so I want you to want it, be excited for it, like hungry for it, like,
Mm-hmm.
not just like, okay, So
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, he has no expectation. Like, what am I going to do? So that's what I was thinking in my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, it'll happen,
Yeah.
but I want it to happen at the right time.
Sure.
And for a girl, like, these are not the things that I come up with. It's
Yeah.
more on your end. So
Yeah.
I overthink it. And
Yeah.
so on the way there, did you like think that I was thinking any of this? Like, what were you thinking? Just whatever.
This was one of those times for me where it had nothing to do with sex for me.
Mm. Which you think it would more because it was our like Valentine's Day trip.
It just that I don't know, man. There's a place I've gotten to in my life where it's this thing that it's really fun and I enjoy it, but I'm also like enjoying connecting with you on other angles that I don't know that I explored or gave the validity to how fulfilling they could be.
I love that.
And so for me, I'm unwinding a lot of childhood shit that made me seek and need attention and all these
Mhm.
types of things. And as I'm loosening all that out of my life and,
Mhm.
and confronting a lot of that stuff, this using sex as a validation thing for me is like it's not that for me anymore.
I love that. That makes me
So
so happy.
yeah, well, so it was like, so when you're like, what's your expectation? I'm like, oh fuck, I haven't even thought about it.
Yeah.
I knew this. I knew that we were gonna go to this really fun steak place. I know that whenever you and I go out in Vegas, we dress really nice, we're in shape, we get a lot of attention and a lot of action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought, well, that in and of itself, just going to this new steak place is going to be a really fucking fun time because I'm with my best friend.
Yeah.
And whatever shit happens in our life tonight, it's going to be awesome.
That's usually like my expectation.
Yeah.
I always like, I just want to have fun. Like,
Yeah.
do we end up dancing, which I love?
Yeah.
Listening to good music? Do we laugh where I'm crying all my makeup off? Like, those are
Yeah.
what I expect
Yeah.
to have such a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went to we got dressed up. We don't even make it out of the elevator, and someone goes, "Hey, you guys
Yeah.
look really great." I was like, "Wow, this is gonna be it. This is gonna
You're
be
like, this is it. We did it.
this is gonna be so much fun." So heading over to Poppy Steak. Shout out to Poppy Steak. This segment brought to you by Poppy Steak at the
So
Fontaine Blue,
good.
not the Fountain Blue, but the Fontaine.
Fontaine.
Oh, guys, this is just date alert. If you're in Vegas or you're going to be in Vegas, you have to go to Poppy Steak.
First
The
of all,
food's
it's
great.
delicious.
Yeah, it's great.
But the atmosphere,
Oh,
the
shit.
people, the music.
Yes.
It was so. I didn't want to leave. Like,
Yeah.
I was having so much fun, but
Oh, it
I
was
did
the
give a
best.
time limit, and
Yeah.
we wanted to keep the night going. But
Yeah.
I could have stayed there for a while.
Great place because of the conversation was fun
Well, I was crying my makeup off,
because you were laughing. Yeah.
so hard.
Yeah.
I like to rip into you, and the way you take it makes me laugh even harder.
That's the best.
I know.
It's so funny. It's so funny because you know me better than anybody. So, of
So
course,
I like to make fun of you. In
well,
like
yeah,
a
so it's
fun,
like,
cute
well, that's
way.
real.
Yeah.
That's exactly how me and my guys actually,
Right.
my best friends, we joke around. We love kind of just that banter and that
Yeah.
sparring. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Wait, and some guy from Private Money that
Yeah.
we used to do said, "I've known you since then," and it helped him like do a bunch of flips.
yeah,
Which I was like, dang.
Yeah, dude came up and introduced himself to
Yeah,
us.
that
He's
was
like,
really
Mr.
cool.
Yaki. And I just thought that that was
They
the
knew your name.
reservation.
Yeah.
So I just thought, what is he going to say? And he's like, hey, I'm so-and-so. I was this and this, and you really helped me with that. And it was like, I think you and I both stood there in a little bit of shock.
Yeah, because it was so long ago, too. I was
Yeah,
like,
and was
what?
like, wow.
You
Like
remember him?
this dude's actually, just us sharing our wisdom
Yeah.
changed his life. That was really cool.
Yeah, it felt good. I like that.
Yeah, and then we brought back the old nostalgic hashtag hits and tits.
That was so fun.
That was fun. So I was going to surprise Jesse with an old trip back to when we lived back in Vegas. If there was a UFC fight, we didn't know where you could find it. So one time we went down to the Strip asking, where do you find the fights? And they're like, well, nobody has the fights on these. I'm like, really?
Right.
They're like, yeah, you can go get it at Crazy Horse 3, which is the local strip club. And we're like,
said, okay.
all right, let's head down there
Yeah.
and see. When we first walked in there, we were like, holy shit, this place is heaven. They had a sushi bar.
They had sushi then.
A genuine sushi bar, like good sushi bar. They had these big screens all over the walls
They're
with,
all over,
with the
huge.
fights everywhere.
Yeah.
And then you had scantily clad women just
Walking around.
being scantily clad women.
Yep.
So anyhow, we like, well, this can be a real thing.
That was fun.
Well, now we don't live out there anymore. So
that was like the last time we've been there. Was
I'm
then,
like,
forever ago.
I was gonna like surprise you, but you kind of like, hey, we
I was
should
like,
do this.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's gonna be fun.
And so we watched the fight. That was fun. That was a good
We
one.
went, watched the fight, and danced a
Saw
little
a couple
bit.
of dances, and then
It was showtime.
okay,
The preferences came out.
The audience doesn't want to know.
And
that.
you were 12 out of 10. And we woke up the next morning.
Ordered
breakfast in bed.
Yes.
Yeah, so these are just the things. What happened next? We did that, and then we did the spa day.
Spa day. That was so fun. I wish we had more time. It
Massage
was so nice.
and spas and the salt rooms and all the thing. So it actually turned out exactly the way we planned. A couple extra really amazing moments at the strip club and that guy coming up to us and waiting at the table.
Yeah, it was fun.
Bringing us at the table. So that was how it went. So I think it went even better than I imagined.
Mm-hmm.
And anything else you got to say about that?
No, I had a great
What
time.
did you learn about me
learn about you
on our getaway?
Well, that no expectation one was a new one for me.
Hmm.
That's like a new you, a new thought on your end. So that's what I learned about you.
Hmm.
That was different for me. What did you learn?
I learned that you listen at a very deep level and take action regardless of what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I got you. I got you. All right. So where does that bring us to now, Jessie Joy?
That's none of my business. Where's your pinky out?
Oh man, that's too funny. All right, so we talked about fur coats. We talked about this amazing book that they can get and give and gift. We talked about Vegas.
Just a little summary, huh?
Yeah, there's a little catch up. Do you think now we should maybe get into the Q&A?
Oh, well, yes. And I loved how, shout out to whoever said, more Q&A.
Right?
Because I like Q&A too.
Yeah, same.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it feels like it's easier to just get to the answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just give me the goods. Then it sparks our brain into thinking about and going straight down that.
Yeah. Okay, I got them.
Go. Shoot.
Okay, first and foremost, it's a Valentine's Day thing, and it's going to seem like a simple question. It's going to seem basic, but he's asking, do you think he should get her a gift of lingerie and or a sex toy?
Does she like sex toys? Is that something she prefers? Does he know that about her?
I think he's wanting to introduce. It felt like he's wanting to introduce this. If that's what he's wanting to introduce, should he get it for her?
You know, like in relationships, you talk, right? Supposedly.
Okay.
I hope you do.
Okay.
I hope you do. And so knowing where you're kind of headed that way, I think you would kind of know if she's okay with it or not. I think that's big. If she's like, no, I would never do that. Don't get the toy. I hate those. Those are too big, or I don't know, whatever the thing is. Like, I'm not into those. Like, then don't get it. Like, if you already heard her say things like that.
Okay.
But if she hasn't said anything and you're like, well, then yeah, try it, I think.
Yeah.
I would get both. But what if he got her like something not sexual too? Like, does it come with flowers and a nice card, not about sex? Does it
Okay.
come with something else, not just give me sex, here you go, stuff?
Mm.
So, but if they've had these conversations of like, yeah, that's what we're gonna do on Valentine's Day, then get
Mhm.
the thing. Like, you should kind of know where she's at
Okay.
by listening.
Okay.
And if you don't, you're stupid and you need marry games. It's like you don't propose without them kind of knowing that she's gonna say yes. You know what I mean? Kind of
Yeah.
along those lines.
That makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
Yeah. I I don't know that I could add much to that.
Yeah. Does the gift come with some love too, not just that kind of love? You
Okay.
know?
Yep. All right. Second question. Second question is, my wife and I had a conversation about more sex, and she seemed like she focused on it and changed for about 2 weeks, and here we are 2 months later, right back square one.
Mm-hmm.
What should I say to her?
What's he doing different? Did he not keep up his end of the bargain too? I don't know. You know, like she doesn't want to throw it in his face when they're talking. Like, well, then if you did this, I would give you more sex. But like, is he like being the great man he should be too? Because that usually is the fruit of your labor of a good relationship. I don't know. That's one where you have to ask so many questions about like their relationship or like why that's not happening. If she said she would, then she should hold up her end of the bargain too. So
Okay. What if you were talking to her? Let's say you were able to have a chat with her and you sat her down. What what questions would you ask her, or what would you want to know? How would you be able to help her think differently? Because you just said if she said that she should do that.
yeah, she should.
Well, okay, but
So that's
maybe
what I would ask her first of all is like, whoa, what is she like lacking in her relationship? What she's frustrated with? I would go down that route.
Hmm.
And then I would say, and then
Because if you knew what she was lacking or frustrated, you could know why.
why? Yeah, I
Yeah.
like to get to the why.
Yeah. So let's
root of
give
it.
an example. This is gonna be a very obvious example, but let's just start here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you asked her, "Hey, what do you think it is?" and she goes, "The guy just smells like shit all the time."
Yeah.
It can be as simple as that.
Yeah, it can. I would tell her to tell him.
Yeah.
You have to tell him
Yeah.
because he's asking for something and you've like physically are like grossed out. Then you
Yeah.
have to tell him and he'll end up getting what he wants. So if you tell him, it benefits him. So don't think you're hurting him by telling him.
Mm.
You're helping him by telling him.
Mm. Yeah, that might be the reframe or the shift that
Yeah, that's
somebody
what people
needs.
think. I'm going to hurt him. I can't tell him.
Mm.
But you're hurting him by not telling him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you agree?
It's such a simple answer, but there is a lot of nuances to it.
Yeah.
But if a guy is asking that question to me and he's saying, "Hey, she said she was going to change and she didn't," the questions I would be asking would be like, under what premise did she agree to give you more affection or sex? Meaning, like, she must have admitted, "I'm not doing it," and either said she knows why she hasn't done it, or she doesn't know why she does it, and she knows she needs to be better. So I think, again, it's more questions.
Like he would have to ask her the questions like, why do you
But
not
my
feel
guess
the
is
need to?
my
or-
guess is 2 months ago there was some sort of a conversation
Yeah,
deep enough for her to be like, you know what, you're right.
sure.
And what was why did she agree to this is what I want to know, what that context was.
Mm-hmm.
I can invent one right now and then we can walk it through, but it's
Yeah.
something to the effect of, if she said, you know, you've been working late, you don't seem real present when you're home.
Totally.
Okay, so that's something
That's usually yeah.
pretty normal, right?
Yeah.
So you've been working late, and even when you are home, you don't feel very present. I don't feel like I have your 100% presence. If she could use our articulation,
Yeah.
she might say, "I feel like you pay more attention on a sales call or a call for a deal than you pay attention to me,"
Mhm.
which makes me not feel like I'm really that important to you.
Or it makes me feel like all you want is sex because that's the only time you talk to me. When you get it, you're done.
Yeah.
We don't connect in any other
Yeah.
ways.
So she might.
There could be so many reasons.
I don't know that a lot. Do you think a lot of women articulate it that way under that moment if a guy comes? No.
That's all you want. That's all you ask from me. And they like say it like that, and then he gets defensive. He's like, "You're not gonna give me sex, ah," you know. And then they're both in heightened emotions. So
What is she thinking in that moment?
That's all you want from me? That's all I'm good for?
Mm.
That's probably how she feels like, I've been giving it to you and you still don't talk to me.
Mm.
Mhm.
So that follows exactly what our thesis is that a woman is a mirror to a man, and that she's going to reflect a reflection of him. So if she is trying to make these material changes, but his actual behavior doesn't change, she's then going to grow to resent him all the more, because now she's like, I'm literally giving you exactly what you said you wanted, and you couldn't even be more clueless than you were when we started. Is
Mhm.
that what is going on in her brain?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it all boils down to what this man is, just lacks an awareness of what he's doing that's causing her to not be attracted to him.
I'd assume
Her.
so. Mhm.
It's been right almost all. Well, you know what's been right with 100% of the people that have come to use our help? Their power dials all been off
Mm.
entirely, which is
Explain
why,
how.
um, well, they'll do anything to just try and make her happy, include shrink themselves, not share who they really are. It's people pleaser, nice guy syndrome, some have called it, where they'll do anything, they'll be nice just so they can get along and be accepted.
Yeah, that looks so pathetic.
It's the most pathetic thing on planet Earth.
Mhm.
And we have a chapter in here called the power frames, and the two power frames are, one is leaving is the leverage. If you don't understand that you have options, if you don't understand that you're a man that any woman would really be like, dude, that's a fucking catch right there.
To be dateable.
Yeah, to be dateable.
Mhm.
And if you don't have that, then you're going to feel like, well, you're stuck with this one, and you need to just supplicate and hope that they continue to pick you, and they just give away all the power, and they're just, it's just horrible.
Mhm.
And it makes a man feel like he's less than himself. He doesn't know any other way out. And that in standing in his truth and standing who he is, he hasn't accepted who he is and what he wants to become fully. So he's needing that acceptance from everybody else.
Mhm.
And he just gives his power away. So the leaving of the leverage is that. The other concept is the interviewer versus the interviewee. And that is, if you have an interviewer frame, what you're doing is you're critically assessing this human being in your life with, like, is this a value add in my life? Is this type of person supporting me, cheering me on, loving me? Is this a person I can talk to and learn about myself through them, and learn about them through myself? These types of things. And you start to ask yourself, wait a second, this is a standard that other people live at. If this person that in front of me doesn't want to live at that standard, they don't have to. I'm not going to force them to, but I'm also not going to grant them access into my life and my attention and all these types of things.
Mhm.
So when a man understands these, this is the most controversial chapter, is what happens is they realize, oh shit, I get to go create whatever I want. That's the most scary feeling ever,
Mhm.
because they're afraid of the pain and the damage that might
The
cause.
jumping.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. When a man is tethered with that, he will almost never feel free. But just because the man can take the interviewer versus the interview energy, the woman can do the same, and they
Mhm.
can both be interviewers of each other.
Yeah.
They can both know that they're really at the top of their game for a man, really at the top of their game for a woman, and be like, well, I would only be with somebody at the top of their
Yep.
game. And so
That's where we're at.
yeah,
That's exactly where we're at. It's like we'd make each other better, call each other out. We're both at our 10, 10, 10
yeah,
constantly.
yeah.
Mhm.
And that is,
That's the relationship I want.
yeah, because oftentimes when people hear the interviewer versus interviewee, they assume that just you're assuming this superior role, and it's not that you're a superior role. You are unattached to the outcome, and you are saying, I value myself and my peace, my mental health, who I believe I am, and what I can achieve in this world. I value that over the opinion of others, especially if somebody gets to ride shotgun with me and they're going to chip away at that.
Mhm.
Why would I want them in my life?
Mhm.
And that I think creates the best. One of the concepts I used in there was this concept of tenure. You have these professors or these politicians that, once they're in for a long time. They're not performing at their highest or their best as if they're trying to win. And that time is they start taking the foot off the gas.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's no, if your wife doesn't believe, wait, if I just let myself go, if I don't feed this man, if I don't be this man's thing that I promised him I would be, he's not going to put up with that for very long. And my place at this table is always at risk, but not really. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you and me, we had an argument the other night. Like there's no conversation about us not working out. It was like, no, it's not. We already know, like, this is it. Like, we get each other. This is the thing. Sometimes we frustrate the fuck out of each other, but we get it.
Mm-hmm.
We're wanting to know, why is this thing keep coming up? And it's one of us has got some story or narrative or something about something.
Mm-hmm.
So holding space for each other to work through that. I think the ultimate litmus test is, can you see the other person is actually making real strides and real efforts to be this thing?
That's the thing right there.
What you did with our 12 out of 10 experience the other day was you keep doing that. That's noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
That's admirable. And that's praised. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the person I want to be sitting at the man cave table doing a podcast with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So beautiful questions, beautiful stuff. A little more of an update. Hey, have a happy Valentine's Day. What else you want to say? Don't do anything we wouldn't do, but
do it all.
Do it all.
But do it.
Have fun. Remember, have fun, guys. Girls just want to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And this day of all days. So if you go, oh, this might be a little more expensive, do it because it's your standard, not because you're trying to get anything. Raise your standard. Watch what happens. The attraction then magnetically follows. That being said, keep crushing it, because that shit is contagious.
Yeah, I need a bag, bruh. Send it through quickly. I'm making his dog like I'm in the big leagues. Yeah, I told him I'ma hit it out of stands.